Okay, I believe this is where we left off with last time. Boy, I think that I didn't change the focus, so hopefully you'll be able to see that as you may have decided to tune in to this. So, moving on to our final class, okay? And that, just as a review, how many classes have we gone over, okay? I want to say 4 so far. Okay, so what have we done? Meristomata, or the horseshoe crabs, okay? The arachnids, okay? Then we went on to the crustaceans. Shoot, I'm off by one, because our next one is going to be our 4th one, and that is the largest of all classes here on Earth, and that would be the insects, okay? Just on account of there are just so many different types of insects found on Earth. Maybe we've only classified, perhaps, I need to adjust this because I think, okay, maybe that's the top of the laptop there. Okay, there are just so many different types of insects that haven't been classified yet. So as we look at this, well, how do we know that we're looking at an insect? Of course, not all insects fly, okay? Keep that in mind, because when we look at, you could say, a wingless hornet, those are your ants. Certainly we know those are insects. They crawl along the ground. Even though they don't have any wings, they're still classified as an insect. So an entomologist then, as you would guess, or as you can see, is a scientist that would specialize in studying insects, okay? So not only is there a million different types of insects estimated to be, there's perhaps that many more to be classified, okay? So how do these animals get around? Well, they've got 3 pairs of legs, which means 6 walking legs, and then 2 pairs of wings for the majority of them, but not all insects have wings, okay? So the distribution of these, this is another reason that there are quite so many insects, because they're found all over on Earth, of course, with the exception of Antarctica, okay? So one of the problems that we do have in the summertime is if there's water laying around, that's where a lot of these insect eggs are placed and then hatch. So especially when it comes to that of mosquitoes, that can certainly get to be a problem. And that's why anytime you see sitting water, if possible, if it's something you can just dump out of that structure, that way that doesn't give another opportunity for these mosquitoes to breed then. I see I got to keep an eye on my microphone here because I'm on the last bar for battery power. But as we see this is the reason they're so widely distributed, because they can fly, as you can see, from one place to another, okay? So one of the aspects that we didn't spend much time on with their 6 keys to their success is with that exoskeleton. It's got functions on there that besides the protection, it keeps the water loss to a minimum. It also provides a place for these muscles to attach. That's the reason the exoskeleton is so important. That was one. We've got jointed appendages. That was another success. Okay, I'm trying to remember. It wasn't segmented bodies. Okay. They go through metamorphosis, so a lot of them do. So there's a diminished form of competition. There's complex behavior patterns. There's 4. 5, I think, was perhaps complex sensory organs. And air is piped directly to their cells. I think that is 6. If not, I know 4 of them are correct. The complex sensory organs, that might not have been on the list. Well, we can take a peek quick. Okay, we're on slide 31, so we're almost done. Let's see here. We're gonna go quite a ways. Okay, the exoskeleton we talked about. Okay. They got the jointed appendages, the air is piped directly to their cells. Yes, they do have the highly developed sensory organs, complex behavior patterns, and then they actually go through metamorphosis. So those were the 6. Okay. So hopefully we're not putting anyone into not a coma here, but going so fast that, oh geez. Oh. Okay. All right. So with this, okay, they're so widely distributed again because of their that they can fly. What are their 3 body segments? Unlike that of when we talk about spiders and scorpions, these 2 are fused together. Okay, so even though they got 6 walking legs like scorpions and ticks, okay, these are fused together. In those animals where even with the ticks and mice, they just have the 1 body segment, okay, which then allows them to be successful because of that. And they're also parasitic feeders then as well. Okay, then finally the abdomen on here. This is where their digestive organs would be found, of course. And that probably almost gets us towards the end here, okay? This is just what would be placed on your final as a word bank. Sometimes we actually have an exam that we get to. This year we didn't, so that's just going to be included on the final, okay? So when we look at these, okay, the reason we're talking about different types of flight muscles, okay, is because some of them flap very fast, and then others, as you would guess, actually don't. So think of an animal or an insect that doesn't flap its wings very fast, but yet can fly. Okay, and if you would think of butterflies, that would be an example. Okay, they actually have these direct flight muscles. Okay. In other words, they don't flap very fast. Indirect flight muscles, like we see on insects like houseflies, mosquitoes, bees, okay, those are flapping so fast that they're also generating lift on their upstroke as well because of how the, I can't really do that function, but I'm trying to illustrate the downstroke, then it goes in a figure 8 pattern up like this, then back down, up like this and back down, okay? There's a diagram of that in your book, and hopefully we're back in class tomorrow so we can wrap this semester up. This does the chapter, but it doesn't quite wrap up the semester, okay? So hopefully we didn't go too fast. I'll just back up with what it is that we talked about today, okay? So that way you can go back and hit pause should you need to do that. Because I'm thinking that some of these are questions on your papers that will still stick to a Friday due date, and we'll also have a vocabulary evaluation tomorrow should we be in class. We can only hope. Hopefully we're back in school tomorrow. Okay? And again, here's your distribution. Okay? Because they can fly, that's why you see insects all over the world. Okay, and then finally here. Oops, no, it's not that one. It's actually 2 more. Again, I'm going to try to keep this down to under 15 minutes. That's where we're trying to always place them in, is just that short amount of time frame. I see we're up to about 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Okay. And even the different types of structures located on the ends of their legs allow them to be very adaptable. Because as you can see, if they have paddle-shaped legs, well then that's why we have a classification of water bugs, because they can actually walk on water. They can actually, of course, some are adapted for jumping. Those would be, of course, your grasshoppers that can actually do that, or lubers. And then other types of insects can just crawl along the side of side of a building, side of your walls in your house. That's where you grab your fly swatter, of course, and get rid of them in that manner. Then finally, we've got these different types of flight muscles. Okay, I will go ahead and shut this down for now, so we can just go ahead and put a couple of more classifications up there. Try to ease the strain of when we get back together in school. Okay, so let's see here. We'll just do 3 more boxes, okay? And I'm hoping this is going to be fairly accurate, which I think it would be. Of course, the phylum is still the same. They're still all arthropods, okay? And I know I only put 4 lines and 6 in the other one, but there's a reason for that. Okay, so we have the class, we have, I don't think we go down to the order level on the insect, so characteristic, possibly characteristic, and then the animal. Okay, here's a different class, characteristic, and animal. Same thing here, class, characteristic, and then animal. Okay, I'm hoping that still shows up okay on, because I think I had the lights on here yesterday. Then if I remember correct, when the light comes from below, hopefully it's just a little bit easier, then it eliminates that glare that we see on the board there. Okay, so when we're talking about this class, if it's Insecta, okay, that's the largest class. What do we know about these? Of course, they've got 3 body segments. Kind of ran out of space, so that's segments. Okay, why is it that they're so widely distributed? Okay, if you can remember, one of the things we talked about in class is that the majority of them can do this. In other words, the majority actually fly. Okay, and then another characteristic of insects besides 3 body segments, the majority of them can fly. Well, how do they actually get around besides that of flight? Well, they've got 6 walking legs. And that's all insects, okay? So this is one way the categorization splits from the arachnids, because even though scorpions and ticks and mites got 6 walking legs, they can't fly, and nor do they have 3 body segments. That's why we have insects in a different class. So we'll just go ahead and you can put housefly and mosquito. So just do this, housefly, or if you want to do this, either one of those. There might be a silent E in there, but otherwise the mosquito. Then we've got these 2 classes, and these are centipedes and millipedes, but that's not what we're putting for classes. Okay, we'll go ahead and do Chelopoda and Diplopoda. Okay, of course, one of the ways that we can tell the difference between that of centipedes and millipedes is going to be in their legs. Okay, when we're looking at a body segment on centipedes, okay, they actually just have the one set of walking. I'm going to put them upside down like this, because I'm just not that flexible to where I can turn it around. You can see it on, well, you kind of can. But if it's upside down, they've got 1 pair of legs per body segment, okay? So then they just walk along like this, and it's going to be their diet that separates these 2. So I'm just going to put 1 pair legs per segment. That's what that means, okay? And if you remember from the tarantula video, what do centipedes feed upon? And of course, it's tarantulas. Any animal that feeds upon another animal makes them carnivorous. Okay, and of course, this is a centipede. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and contrast them to the millipedes. Well, I guess we don't have to have that as plural. Okay, where's my rag? My rag, it's over here. Okay, you can just put millipede there instead. Okay, so how are these different than the centipedes? Well, one of them is their diet, because if they're not going to be carnivorous, well then they're herbivorous. Remember, centipedes have one pair of legs where millipedes actually have two. Okay, so we'll kind of look at it from the side here. 2 legs per body segment, or 2 pair legs per segment. Okay, I just don't quite have enough room in here, and I want to make sure that the writing's hopefully big enough that you can actually see that. And then finally, if they're not carnivorous, they're herbivores then. Herbivorous. Okay, so we just slightly went over our mark of 15 minutes. So again, vocabulary evaluation tomorrow if we're in class. Your short answer papers are due on Friday, and then Monday will be our last day to review. Your final then, I believe, is right away Wednesday morning, if the schedule is correct. All right, that's all I have. We'll catch up to you next time.